Today I'm not going to talk about farming, as you already guessed. I will talk about facilities management and also sustainable facilities management and how this is actually working in practice. The aim is to present some results from a Nordic project, or a project funded by Nordic Built, and to look at the experiences from Denmark, Sweden and Norway. The project was started in 2015, and you see the timeline over there. I don't know if I'm going to walk around or how I'm going to stand, but in order to see you all, I'll probably walk around. So the timeline, you see, it started in 2015. We are 4 educational institutions. It's NTNU in Trondheim and CIFMERS in Sweden, which is doing a master level degree in civil engineering, and also a part of it is facilities management. And the other 2 institutions from Denmark is Copenhagen Real Estate Academy and VIA in Horsens, that both do bachelor's degree in something they called in Denmark construktør. It's a kind of mix between the civil engineer and an architect, which is interesting though. So we joined forces and tried to collect data on how is the education doing today, how is the practitioners' need for future competencies, and also it was a goal to strengthen the competencies in the Nordic countries. Okay, so how did we do this? We started out with some workshops, and we have had 4 workshops altogether during these 4 years, both with academics, researchers and practitioners. Then we had a case study, as you can see the pictures there, for renovation projects or refurbishment projects with sustainability issues, and did in-depth studies and interviews with them and look at the challenges. And today I will going to present the challenges with these 4 projects, and also look at why they were not really successful, or in terms of looking at sustainability. The project was having a focus on the user aspects of environmental sustainability. And just to mention the 4 projects, the first one is the university building as an office building and an educational building for students and staff at CIFMERS. And they had an ambition that it should be integrated, both the students and the staffers should be integrated to working together, and it should be a high level of sustainability, not only low energy efficiency, but also social aspect. You should nudge the people to go and eat vegetarian food and so on. So it's also this social aspect was there. The second one was the social housing in Denmark, where the residential were having some indoor climate issues, so they renovated the building and was looking at how it was improved. The third one was so-called eco-housing in Copenhagen, which is an interesting case because it was built in order to get a low-cost housing for people that was interesting to contribute with some maintenance and operational costs. In that terms, getting low rent. And the fourth one is the Hotel Britannia in Trondheim, which is a very fancy old hotel, but it's been renovated for 120 billion Norwegian kroners, which is a lot. And they wanted this to become a very modern, but still keep the old style of the hotel, and with a luxury feeling, but also very social, sustainable hotel. Anyway, so that was the goal, and we were interviewing the the owners, we interviewed the users, and we also interviewed the FM suppliers. So the results was that if we're talking about technical solutions, if you're talking about energy efficiency and finding solutions for that, if you're talking about reducing waste, reducing water, this is what most FM providers think is sustainability. However, they were very good in implementing that. So we concluded that that is not the main issue. The challenge was that the users were not, where they were listened to in one way, they might have been involved in the early phase of the planning or the design of the project. But they were not integrated when it comes to the operational phase. So, for instance, for the social housing that was renovated, the indoor climate was fixed in a way, but the user was still complaining. Why? Because it wasn't really, it wasn't a system that was handling information to show, telling the residential, the user, that this was actually fixed. They could tell them there were no indoor climate anymore, but they still complained. So that tells us that it needs to be some dialogue or a channel for communication between the FM provider and the user. Case one, the university, which was really the educated people and the student. They were very much engaged in the process. They were involved to give solutions how to deal with this. In the end, they ending up feeling not listening to, so they end up not being working at the office, which is not what was the main goal, which was supposed to be a merge between the students and the workers. And the hotel, that had the idea that we don't know the guests how they were going to behave, so we don't really involve them. So in that terms, the social, it was only the FM provider that was able to give some advice in the design process. However, their advice was not listened to either. And the last one, the eco housing, which has the goal that the user itself should be employed or taking some course of maintenance and so on, was a good idea, which works in the beginning, but then people moved out and new one came in and they didn't really want it to contribute. So in that case, it was more the thing that to uphold the motivation of the user to contribute. So what we can see is, in order to find or success with sustainable FM, we see that the FM role needs to take a new approach in terms of, we call this a changing agent, or it needs some collaborative requirements of the FM provider. And in that collaboration skills, that is nothing we deliver today at the educational institutions. Collaboration, social skills, how to facilitate the process in a good way, and so on. So that we think needs to be in the future. Also, sustainable FM is more than a technique. It's a proactive role. It includes both the technical side and the social side. And that might be a challenge, but it's possible if you are aware of that. And the last one, involvement of the users and clients, is nothing you just checked, I've done that. It's an ongoing process, and it's when the building are designed or refurbished, the user is the one that should be involved and engaged, because there is also the one that can contribute to lower the measures when the building are in use. So this leads us to a lot of new stuff to implement in the educational situation. Thank you.